Oh, we are live. Thank you so much for joining us in Cthulhu and Cairo review. Uh, yeah, we are here doing episodes 82 through 84. I can tell that because it says so at the top of my screen. Thank you. So nothing gets past me, I'm telling you. I'm a quick one. I'm a quick study. So we are here on Gen Con Day. Today is the day the Gen Con events went live, and everybody lost their fucking minds.
Was it as difficult for as it was for Origins?
Well, probably worse.
Infinitely more.
Really?
More.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a nervous wreck for Origins. Like, I can't even imagine that on a bigger scale.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, too. It's like, I'm trying to do the event, or we're way off topic here, but I'm trying to do the event organizing for both these cons, and they're right on top of each other as far as the scheduling goes. We just did this 2 weeks ago for Origins.
Yeah.
And now I'm right back at it with Gen Con. And like people are constantly emailing me, what about this? Did this game get canceled? How did this get moved over there? Why? Oh, I didn't get in any of your games. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my God. It's been nonstop all day. But you know what? I'm loving that the people are excited and interested in getting in the game. So
yeah, I was so impressed by the Lurking Fears presence at Origins.
Yeah,
that's very impressive.
Yeah, I'm really impressed. I think we have probably more games scheduled than almost any other group.
Wow.
I have to look around. Maybe the Pathfinder boys maybe have more. I don't know. I know we have more. A few other. Oh yeah.
We can fix that.
Yeah. We got your whole crew down here. They can take some of the guys out back.
Well, that or we just pull the fire alarm in that ballroom and then say clear out.
Chicken.
Bracket.
Did your Living D&D game get canceled?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We are terrible. I'm terrible person. Horrible person. Anyway, we're here to talk about Cthulhu and Cairo, episodes 82 through 84. They, for the most part, we're in Sevastopol still in this. Really good background. Really good stuff going on amongst the characters in this. Not a lot of action, but that's fine because this is the parts where you get into the meat of the characters. You get to know more about them. Definitely know some more about the past of some of these people than the others. As they get back into civilization, and the world catches up with them. When they get back into civilization, as we know it. So some really good stuff going on. I love these parts because again, you get to know how these people work and their connections with each other, which makes when it's tense even more indelible. I guess is the word I'm looking for.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
It just makes it more pronounced. What's your thoughts on these 3 episodes, Minda?
This is the first time I've listened to a set of episodes not more than once. Like, I only got to hear. I had normally I listen to them like 3 or 4 times through. But I didn't have the opportunity to listen to them as often, so I just listened to them today. But fucking Hector Reed.
We're gonna jump all the way up there. Okay.
That was
straight to 84.
That was my biggest takeaway was that because I'm an Operation Poltergeist player, so that that ending of 84 where she's Ellis Flynt. That's where I started.
Yep.
In Operation Poltergeist. So I mean, I know I'm jumped like way ahead, but it's special to me. So
we're definitely going to circle around back to that because I definitely want to talk more about that as we get to it. But 82, they're basically still kind of getting their bearings and deciding how they want to go about and do things and get things done. They're not real. This is like the first time where they seem a little uncertain on where to go next and what to do. Do we go to Nepal? Do we go? Do we continue on? Do we stop? you know, it seems there's a bit of trepidation. Look, I'm using my $5 words today. Bit of, you know, I'm nothing if not alliterative. You know, but yeah, they seem a little apprehensive about where to go next.
What's the next?
Yeah,
I feel like they've spent a lot of time like just trying to figure out whether going back to Nepal is the right decision for them.
because it feels like a step back, right?
Yeah.
And that was the big argument among the entire cast. Was I don't want to do things that we feel we've closed chapters on, but they left things at every place almost. I mean, and we don't go back to every place, but they do leave a lot of things like unresolved because they're on the run or they're trying to move quickly, right?
Yeah.
So there's all these tidbits of things out there that are butt perking, and sometimes they just walk away and we never get an answer. That's role playing, right? You don't.
Yeah. Welcome to running a campaign. Yeah, especially these world spanning campaigns. I mean, Massacre in Nyarlathotep is a prime example of that. Yep. There's so much stuff that they can get into. I mean, they visit like 6-7 different countries over the course of the adventure, and there's so much they can do in each one. And they might touch on a third of it. You know, they just need to get the beats of it. All this other stuff is happening that they can get some more info. Or is it 100% necessary? Probably not. But you're gonna miss out on something fun.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I completely get that out. I am doing the same thing too with the Two-Headed Serpent. It's a really good pulp game, but there's like 2, almost 3 entire chapters of it where I'm like, this is fluff. This is complete fluff. Is it necessary to the campaign? No. Is it fun? Yeah. Is it extremely deadly? Yeah. Is it necessary? No. you know.
But is it extremely deadly? And you went, well, then we'll do it.
But then I came onto a crunch, for con season, and I'm like, you know what? Skip. So I want to get this campaign done before con season. So you know what? We're gonna blow right through those 2 chapters there. You didn't need it. No. You didn't need it. There was some fun stuff to do. Yeah. I mean, they could have gone to India, and I forget where else. But yeah, I was like, it's not. Nothing there was vital,
right,
to the campaign. But yeah, so they're kind of rudderless in here, and it was so intriguing. Like at the end of episode 82, where Ella's like, maybe we should consult a psychic, and I'm like, that's a strange way to get your direction, but you know what?
I loved it. I loved the that whole interaction between the three girls and did you say she was Romani?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because we don't say the G word anymore. Yeah.
Right.
There's many types of gypsies, but she was Roma.
Yeah, I loved that whole scene, and I did think it was strange that Catherine asked about Davina, because I didn't expect that really to be on her radar, and I don't know if I missed something in listening. Maybe I crossed over something that would even have been on her radar. I thought it was a strange request.
So behind the scenes, if we go to the backlot footage and the B rolls and everything, this all started because so Ella had the idea as a player, and the rest of the team, we edited out this long 15-minute conversation of, well, I wasn't ready for this. Why are we doing this? Catherine doesn't want to do crazy stuff. Why do we have to go to another crazy person? You're our crazy person. Can't you just touch something and tell us what you eat? So they have this long, drawn-out play out of character. And in it, Catherine goes, well, I'm not asking any goddamn questions. Okay, don't go in. But then she goes in and goes, I don't know, just Davina. It's like the only thing it's something that just came to her mind. And it was really Catherine sort of playing into a snub your nose situation at it, because Catherine's still sane enough to feel like she can not deal with the craziness, and she can step us away from it or walk around it. But as you get deeper in the show, I mean, there's so many cosmic things that start to happen. There's no getting around it. I mean, it's bad.
Yeah.
So this was really one of the last episodes where I felt like this episode is the last time we're going to see Catherine not clicking that unhinge. Like there's a funny comedy where the guy in a haunted house, loosens the hinges so the doors squeak more. Like that's Catherine. You're starting to unloosen the hinges and they're yeah. So
Exactly.
this is really the last time we see her with a full hinge.
This is full hinge. That's interesting.
Yeah, because
Full hinge.
Catherine's kind of our everyman in this campaign. She's us. If we were throwing in this stuff, most of these people have some kind of otherworldly connection or some kind of extra thing about them, except for maybe Jack. He's just smexy. But it's like, nah.
No, Jack does. It's coming.
Yeah. But I mean, Catherine's a nurse. She's a very staid, very in and now, very present kind of person, and all this is getting thrown at her, And I think we've seen a lot of this campaign through her eyes. She's definitely, obviously the most vocal person in the group. As far as like saying, well, this is what I'm seeing. This is what, and from a very human sort of, again, every man or every person, I guess, sort of outlook. Mm-hmm. So really applaud her for that and her character for that, for providing us that window into this campaign, because she is the first one to go, no. Why? Because I'm not a fucking freak.
I'm not a freak.
I don't, bleed goats and throw them on altars and shit like that. I'm just not. Call me Cookie.
You want to go farm, not to go sacrifice.
Exactly. So, it's great to have that.
She's a foil. Yeah.
She's definitely the foil. She's definitely, our view into this campaign. Like, what if we were asked to do this by our crazy rich uncle? To do this stuff, and get thrown into this by our crazy rich uncle anyway. But so I love it though. Like they're talking about it in the cab. The cab's like, I know a guy. I mean, you've been in, you're around New York enough, Raz. That they got to get involved in the conversation to pass the time
eventually,
right? So how about those Jets? So yeah, I mean, he's just mind his own business, and they're talking crap, and they're like, "You need a psychic? Oh man, I got someone for you to meet. Take a buck at a chicken. I don't know, but
exactly."
But it's just wild. There you go. As luck would have it, and they have this whole seance kind of deal basically in episode 83.
Yeah. So I had a question because at the end, the lady gives them the gift for the driver, the gift for the driver to get, which was awesome. And I knew as soon as she said, "Oh, give this to the driver," I was like, "Fuck, that's not going to be good. That is not going to be good." So I was of a similar vein as Catherine, that it was a punishment for bringing the girls to her, like they were bad luck, kind of. You know what I mean? Like
unannounced.
Yeah. Just curse, like bringing that into that home, because it's superstitious,
Oh yeah. And it's like you could have brought them to the shop on Tuesday morning, maybe, but this is after hours. I'm cooking. I got a kid over by the fireplace. Doesn't move much. Just stares at people as they walk in. Yeah, there's So I was curious
from a keeper standpoint, what the reason, because they also mentioned him stealing $5 or something like that from her. So I was curious from a keeper standpoint what the point of was what was the
the significance of the gift.
Yeah, what was the significance from the seer's point of view?
You got this one.
Yeah, go ahead. Tension.
Okay.
There's times when the players, the great keepers like the Matts and the like Doc and Bridget's and people that have been doing this so long. I'm sure Gary does it too. Your husband has probably done it. If you watch people's eyes, or they start talking and then they start thinking, "Oh my God, what's going to happen here?" and you start seeing them get jazzed, it's good to take an extra couple beats and play on that, right? Like, okay, I've had nothing ready. I'm like, I'm not ready to give. I wasn't thinking that's what you really wanted to do. You want to stay in this moment, but the moment's working. So let's put something else in there. A dog comes on with only one leg, and now they're like, "Oh, what happened to the dog?" Well, nobody cares. I mean, you care now because I mentioned it. So yeah, sometimes, especially with the girls, they're the way they play and the way they kind of react to each other. It's really easy to just drop a golf ball and watch it bounce about 100 times off a hard surface, and each time go ding 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 ding, and you're just like, yeah, let that go. Let's have, yeah. You really, because if somebody's finding something interesting at a table or in a scene, why kill it? Unless it's when it's dragging, right? You feel like, okay, I'm bored. But if I'm not bored and you're not bored and I want to let it roll, let's see where it takes us. And that was just one of those things where I'm like, the driver probably skimmed a little off the top here and there, Yeah. So yeah, she just is, and they're like, oh my God, we got to give it to him. It's for you, just take it.
2 pennies for the ferryman.
Yeah, exactly.
But I will never forget the first Call of Cthulhu game I ran, and the moment I knew this was my game, because I run a lot of D&D before that.
Oh, sure.
And some GURP stuff, But I remember first getting a hold of Call of Cthulhu books and going, oh my God, this is great. This is amazing. And I never even been introduced to H.P. Lovecraft. So I started reading his stuff, getting massive headaches and lots of no sleep. But he will mess with your mind, dude. You keep reading it, you will not sleep. You'll be like, but he will. He will reach out from the 1920s and shake your grip of reality. But I'll never forget, like, the very first game I ran, and I was just, it was like a session 0 kind of a thing. Before there was a session 0, I was like, I'm just gonna do like a Night of the Living Dead, throw them in a house and have zombies attack it, kind of a thing. I just want to see how the sanity thing works and all this stuff. And I remember they were exploring the house. It was the group just got chased into there by like zombies, and they were barricaded everything up, and they were exploring the house. And they wanted to go up in the attic. I was like, what can I have in the attic? I was like, I'll just have like a dismembered like zombie hand, just kind of scurrying around like thing, from the Addams Family. And I forget who it was. It was this one lady, young lady that was playing the game. She was the first one to go up into the attic. It's one of those, you climb the ladder and lift up the thing kind of deal. And I was like, she can't quite see. She's only got like the light behind her to go by. And I had like my hand underneath the table, just under the table towards her. She jumps up. She's like, what is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just those tension moments that you once you get, you get them going. They're not sure what's out there in the dark, but it's those great getter kind of things. And it could be something simple as like you saw, like that sound, or this mysterious esoteric gift, that really everybody's like, what the hell is, it's a rotten tooth.
Right.
Whose tooth is that? Is it important? No. Is it creepy as fuck? Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know more.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of those red herrings, right? That's a red herring that you sit there going, well, what the tooth? Yeah. It's gone. But yeah, the moment was there. We had fun with it.
Yeah.
And the girls are so good at that. The way they play together and play off each other. And they're still, after everything they've seen and been through, right? They're still afraid of something that simple, where it's like, what does it mean? They're still that reactive. And you're going, yeah, that's awesome. Where guys might be, just give them the friggin' tooth, will you? Let's get out of here. but the girls play into it, and they really their energy and their voices is so good that it sounds, you get that fun out of it. So
I enjoy you can tell that there is a sisterly kind of bickering going that's always kind of existent between Ella and Catherine, that I think probably is more likely due to the fact that the actors are sisters rather than necessarily the characters.
right.
I see that all the time. Like when they were at the airplane hangar and Ella and Vodham had gone into the office, and Catherine's like, should we really have sent Ella? She's kind of weird. It was really the two we should have sent in there. Like, why would you send Jack or
somebody who speaks the language? Vadam broken English and Ella's freakiness. Like, we're not going to get a plane. We're going to get escorted off the grounds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Assume the position. Interlock your hands behind your head. But it's So when you get into '84, and they had their night's rest, and they finally get out of Sevastopol, and I think they're in New Delhi.
Yeah,
New Delhi.
The first leg they land. Yeah, they come out of the
land. They get in New Delhi, and then the plane's held up, and they're like, "What?" And then we get into this whole thing, which is another really good bit of again the world reaching out and grabbing a hold of these characters, kind of like what you did when they first came back, and you held up the bank money, and stuff like that. We can't forget the time we're in. We're 1931, on the cusp of 1932. They just left Germany. You saw all that's happening for real, right up front in their faces. And England's right across, the channel, looking at it too. When they send their representative out to go hold up the plane, and we need you. And this is perfect place. It's India. It's
English controlled.
It's a colony of the England. It's England as far as they're concerned. We run all this. Why? Because I have a flag.
Don't mind the 3 billion people.
No.
Don't worry about them. Yeah.
Do you have a flag? No.
Not that flag.
We have flags here.
We've got flags.
We get on board.
Exactly. Oh, the colonies. They go and hold up the plane. And I was completely in step with the characters, especially was Ella. When the guy flashes his credentials and, we need you to come with me. I'm like, hold up. And it's completely legit. She's like, where's your warrant? Where's your paperwork? You're just going to hold this whole plane and flash it just because you flashed a badge? It's like, well, if I was a spy, that's the first thing I would do too.
Well, I love that. I love that Ella's player mentioned that they had made that similar mistake in the prologue, that they had just accepted, somebody as a law, a member of law, and didn't actually ask for any credentials. And it was funny because I was literally thinking that. I was like, please don't do what you did the first, with the detective, please ask for a credential. You know what I mean? Like, I was thinking that right as she said it.
Oh, look, they're learning. They can be taught.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah. I mean, and it's completely legit. You'll be like, screw you, screw this, screw that. You're just one guy. I'm from Section M, and I also wondered about that too, because I was trying to put myself in that time. Did people at large knew what Section M was? I mean, it's thrown around today like anything,
right?
But I'm not even sure how widely known Section M was,
exactly,
especially in the 30s. I don't think your average person on the street would have the first idea.
No.
Of what that is. It's not like saying I'm with the FBI. Of course, that was on every newsreel.
They're rounding everybody up, for questioning.
Yeah.
At the McCarthy hearings,
Yeah. I mean, even in the 30s with the alcohol prohibition.
Oh, prohibition.
Yeah, G-men, all that stuff. T-men. But that was on all the newsreels back then. Everybody knew what an FBI agent was. CIA wasn't there yet. It was still Office of Naval Intelligence, I think.
Yeah, I think it was. But I'm not. FBI was when Hoover was it in the 30s. The FBI already?
It was
Right
the
around there?
Bureau. It was the Bureau of
Bureau.
Investigation. Yeah, it was the Bureau of Investigation then. So that's what. Yeah, they were still what they call G-men.
Yep.
Government men. But yeah, that was where the whole idea of like the briefcase agent came from.
Mm-hmm.
Is they have no real. They weren't even allowed to carry a gun. Then they had
in the early days, right?
They were lawyers. They were stepped up lawyers with arresting powers.
Mm-hmm.
That was all they were. But
I
yeah,
learn so fucking much every time I like.
But I mean, and that's what I was here at this moment too. I mean, especially because I was like, if someone stepped up to you back then and said, "I'm with Section M," would you know what they're talking about? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't think back here now because it's mentioned every 5 minutes in a James Bond movie. But
MI6, MI5,
MI6, MI5, M, but yeah, it's but I was like back then somebody said I'm with Section M, I'd be like I'm in row Q. Who gives a damn?
I've been in GQ. I don't care.
So it was completely legit, and I'm the first one to go whatever, But then they had the quiet talk, and he mentioned, the Cthulhu Society, and everything changed. And was this a moment where this is where we're basically spinning off another series,
mm-hmm.
the Operation Poltergeist, where Amanda's part of,
right?
This is the part. This is like that moment in Star Trek where they tried to get that the special agent guy in there, the secret agent man in Star Trek, from the secret agent guy from the future. But to get that spinoff going. But this is the birth of it right here. And I was wondering, I was like, so was Ella like, person who's playing Ella's character, was this a part where they're like, okay, I need to pull myself out of this one and be in this one for what reasons?
Yeah, so Ella was running into a scheduling conflict for several weeks, so it made sense to use her to do the announcement kickoff. So she goes over and records one 2-hour session. So it's split, right? We do it bi-hourly. She recorded the first 2 sessions, and she actually helps spawn and give. She debriefs the new team for Section M that becomes Operation Poltergeist.
Mm-hmm.
So Ella gives the debriefing, and then they meet Hector Reed and General Fitzsimmons and the characters over there. So and then Kayla was. So in the meantime, Cairo keeps moving.
Yeah,
Cairo goes on without her for like several shows. And then Kayla comes back, and as Ella comes back, and she's like, "You'll never guess," and I'm not gonna say it yet, but you'll never guess. Oh my god! And everything starts to reconnect for them with
Yeah.
So we played it here to make it more impactful over there.
It worked. It worked really, really well because it was like this whole they're going away moment, and everybody's like, "Wait, what? Huh? What?
How long? Right?
What?" And they're like, "I'll be back." And it's like, none of us can guarantee that. We don't know if we're going to, if this plane we're getting ready to get onto is going to get shot down or attacked by Biyakis. We don't know.
Right.
I thought it was so like the points in the story where Jack was saying like, you'll go because you're a good English person. And, I thought that was strange. Because he's not, he's said, especially in this group of episodes, said multiple times that he's not English. He's from Kenya. He was born in England, but doesn't really consider himself English. Because they were talking about the mint jelly for the lamb.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought it was a very strange,
reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a couple things like, you could have been let's talk about India right now. You could have been a British officer serving in India, or a British officer living in India, helping the Indian Army. There was, and one looked at the other kind of like, well, I'm truly British. You're kind of a colonial. You're settling here. You may be second generation. Serving in the Indian Army or being an officer in Indian Army isn't the same as a British officer serving in India. So you have the homeland is still the homeland. So Jack sees himself sort of as almost like an expat, but he's still British Empire. At the end of the day, I'm not English, but I'm British.
Yeah.
So you're doing this because you're good. You're a good English person. You're a good member of the country. So they would still support England, but they're British Empire. It's like Scottish people. Don't call me English. I'm British, right? I'm Scottish and I'm British because that's the empire.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense because when I was listening, I was like, why is he doing that? Like that doesn't.
Yeah. Why would he care?
Yeah. This is a direct conflict of what he said previously about. Made it very clear that he's not English, or I think, English.
Yeah, absolutely. And he sees himself as British more than English, because even though he was born there for a few years, he's been so far distant for so long in Kenya on Kubalazi those statements get played out so much over the next 7-8 episodes with Jack going back home and everything. You start to really understand Jack a lot more. It's really good. Yeah, I love Jack's story.
This is the last decade that British is the superpower.
30s,
yeah, the 30s. I mean, this is it. Once we get into World War II, they fall huge. And U.S. and Russia and them such step up. But this is when they said their sun didn't set on the British Empire, they weren't kidding.
Yeah,
they had places in China, they had places in India, they had places in Africa, they had places in Australia. Canada was still large parts of Canada was still British Empire, still is, so yeah, I mean, they were it, the pound was beating the dollar, what, 5 to 1?
Oh, something like that.
Yeah. 5 to 1 easy, so, and it was actually the currency of the world back then. The pound was the currency of the world, where now it's the dollar, but back then it was the pound. They would take a pound over anything. So yeah.
Well, I think he mentions that at some point. I think with the when they're going to see the psychic, I think Raj, you mentioned that she has pounds, which are going to be like
far more valuable.
She mentioned something about she didn't know the currency or something like that, and you're like, you have pounds,
just enjoy anybody will take that. Yeah, that was, but again, in the 30s, that was the case. Yeah.
Interesting. Again, I feel like instead of having history classes, they should just have Call of Cthulhu.
That's the wonderful part about Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah,
it is,
because have Call of Cthulhu games where other players learn all the history.
Yeah, that's the wonderful part about it, because it is set in the real world of that time. The tricky part is when you get into stuff that's not so looked well upon as it is now. Things were of that time that you're not going to do now. But yeah, I mean, colonialism itself. Everybody's like, go talk to my friend Tabitha. She'll tell you all about it. Yeah, I mean, really good episodes to sink our teeth into. Getting to know the characters, it's in between the crisis moments where you get the meat of the sandwich here.
Yeah, I think this is the first time that I feel like we've listened to 3 episodes in sync that really don't have any significant conflict or.
Yeah. Oh, I was expecting like when the plane was stopped, I expected Mueller to catch up with them.
Yeah, they're dead. That's what I thought. That's who stopped the plane with Mueller.
Yeah.
Good.
Here comes the Luftwaffe just.
Stuka.
Stuka's back then.
The Stuka came out, right? 38, 39.
Yeah.
The Screamer.
I like how you had everybody had Catherine get super wasted.
Always.
And I guess it was to keep something from happening to her.
She has her visions in the air.
Right. I remember she had every time she had traveled, on, like on the
Especially over
bus
water.
and
Yeah.
them that
Yeah, if she travels over a place that's connected spiritually, any special site, she starts to envision Cthulhu beating up people on buses and all kinds of shit. So Catherine's modus operandi now is just
Get
liquor me up, pour me in the chair, and don't talk to me. Just shut up.
Let's go. It's almost like A-Team. They got to knock out BA to get him in a helicopter.
Exactly. B.A. Baracus. You got to knock him out. Yeah.
I pity the fool.
I just enjoyed that in just like that's the point, is for her to just, get wasted and go pass out. But in true Catherine fashion, just
can't keep going.
It's great.
Don't touch me.
It's great.
Yeah, she's talking about how she's already had a few. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. They're like, what? I had to have a couple of mimosas to get my blood flowing. But
I think it was Bloody Marys.
Bloody Marys.
Yeah,
exactly.
Minus the tomato juice and celery.
Just throw vodka.
Just.
You know what? You can put a celery in it if it makes you feel better.
Float one. It'll blacken. The episodes that we recorded with when the crossover comes up in Australia, it's another early morning and they're already drinking, and one of the NPCs says it's a little early, isn't it? And Jack goes, not where I'm from. It's just like the whole idea of, I'm sorry, it's 8 o'clock here. Do you know what I'm dealing with? And they grab bottles. When Bridget's on, they bring bottles of gin into the room as with the doctor, her. And she's like, you can leave that outside. He went, I'll only be, if I do, I'm standing with it. You want me in here? Yes, I want you in here. Then.
So how did that go? So we got a little time.
Yeah.
You've had episodes with not only Bridget but also with Seth leading up to the origin thing.
Yep.
How did those go? Yeah.
So Bridget's episode will go live on the 29th of this month. Not this coming, the following Monday. She did an amazing job. You're going to hear her in her own words. She F-bombs me a couple times, and I don't speak, which is pretty sad that I got F-bombed by by Bridget, who's, become a dear friend. I love everything what she's involved in, her energy. She's so upbeat, but it's just hysterical. At one point, she's about an hour and 10 minutes in. And she says, just real quick, can I get a time check? And I said, go as long as you need. We usually go about 2 hours. She goes, yeah. And by the way, fuck you for putting these people through this. And I went, I mean, you're a keeper. What the fuck are you talking? I mean, wow, you're F-bombing me? And she's like, the trauma you've done to these poor people. I'm like, okay, wow, hey. So, she did. She came in and she didn't miss a beat. I had given her a few pieces of notes, little things to touch on, and Bridget did the recap show. And it was great because it wasn't like, if you've been listening to the show the whole time, you're not hearing the same things regurgitated. You're hearing all of the emotional crap that they felt inside as these things were going off. Catherine spills her guts about Matthew. Ella about the stuff that happened between her and John Schooley and what happened. Oh my God. She did a great job. And then Seth came on, and Seth, I got to tell you, what's up?
Can I jump in?
Yeah, please.
Can I just ask, if I listen to that episode, could that be a standalone episode?
Will it spoil it for her?
Right. Is it?
It's gonna catch you up quick because they do mention a few things that happened in Australia it's gonna spoil a few things, but if you go into the live show and you want to get caught up to where we are now, it's a quick way to do it without having to go. You know what I mean? You're not gonna know every beat, but you're gonna see how messed up.
So I would prefer that because it'll catch me up without spoiling.
Oh, you're not gonna hear all the
Okay.
No.
Okay. Cool. All right.
And then Seth's episode comes out the week we go into Origins. So that before the show, that Monday, his show will drop. He's playing Professor Albert Danforth, which he says, I sent him a picture of the guy. Like, this is who I, try to, and he's like, this is the sexiest PC I've ever played. I'm like, good. And Seth was really different energy than Bridget, very inquisitive, wants to know what's going on. Like far more, wait a minute, I heard a noise. I want to investigate that.
Yeah.
Where my team's like a noise, that's shoot the fucking, just shoot the plank of wood and let's go. It's probably a floorboard. So it was very cool. And a little bit, he's, like he said, he kind of took him a few minutes to step in and feel the pulse, but he did a great job. And I think he's going to sound amazing live on the show because they're going into the final piece of chapter 5 to start 6. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
I can't even
Cool.
imagine what it's like to step into a game with people that have been playing together for so long. So like just the ability that they didn't completely fall on their face is like impressive.
Oh, 100%.
Because
100%.
like
Yeah.
it's just there's such a already cohesive team that I can't even imagine what it would be like to introduce your specific playing style into a already cohesive team. Like that's just fucking impressive.
No, he really did. And once he saw, so I gave him the first 25 minutes to himself just to kind of walk around where he was, and they were heading towards him. And as of course they're approaching where he is in this house, they're already arguing walking up the stairs. They know he's inside as players, but they don't know he's inside as characters. And then when he opens the door, it's who the fuck are you? And guns are being reached for. They're like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, whoa, I got a letter. I can explain. But it was just hysterical because he's listening at the window going, do I hear them shouting at each other like that? I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Awesome.
Nice.
I think I'll have to listen to that one too.
So, especially if jumping in for the Origins game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, we're super excited for all this coming up with us.
Yeah, we are too.
We're very excited to have the whole cast down. It's going to be a big time. It's going to be huge. If you're not seeing it, I don't know what you're doing. But yeah, we're going to stop here. I think it's a good stopping point.
Yeah.
May I ask one more question?
Of course.
So I feel very unclosed on because when is it Yukon? Who was that hired Vodum? Yinko. Does Vodum? He was supposed to find out about his family and stuff like that, and then he's not there. Is okay. Never mind. Yeah.
Yinko is not where he needs to be, and now Vadim's family are basically, he's got to find them again. He thought he knew where they were. They've been relocated, and that's like this is Vadim the father coming out because we've seen Vadim the smuggler.
Mm-hmm.
So every character has two faces. I've tried to build that. You're going to see Jack, the mad hunter, and then Jack the protector. You haven't seen the full protector yet. You're going to see Vadim the smuggler, the kind of the get it done guy, and Vadim the father. Catherine the fiance, and Catherine the nurse. I've tried to give every character that double, that Janus moment. The many-faced god Janus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the only way to make them not two-dimensional. You've got to give them something else that they either care about or drives them while all this horror is going on. Otherwise, they're just people stuck in a horror movie like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which you feel bad for, but you don't know them that well.
Yeah,
right?
well, and I mean, I feel like we already, kind of got that glimpse when he was in the cabin, with the his children and
right.
His wife is. He, has this realization that his wife is dead,
and the kids are now alone.
I'm just worried about him. I'm worried about him.
You should be.
He did okay. Well, great.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. Remember the last review where I said this is what I picked up? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, we'll call it for this one. Thank you guys so much for catching us up for this on the review. We will see you in hopefully another couple weeks if another convention doesn't blow up in my face or something like that. Anyway, otherwise, you guys have a great one. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, good night, everybody.